So this random guy walks in, he's wearing like this gray hat, and he's like, "Where was the crawfish?" And I'm like, okay.
Can I have another one?
You've had too many.
Can I have another one?
We gotta finish the project. This is not tolerable sober.
Thank you. So as I was saying, jazz in Chicago, it kind of increased racial tension after World War I. And you know, jazz originated down in New Orleans. And it was considered like wild and primitive because it was. So such a headache. However, when jazz moved to Chicago, right?
Yeah.
But when it moved to Chicago, anyways, white enthusiasts they strayed away from the primitive style of the New Orleans jazz, and they made it like more classy, and it was directed towards the middle class white men. And as jazz became popular, racial segregation, it started to happen. There were white clubs and black clubs, and they couldn't go into each other. And you could have, this is your tip. You heard that. So the white clubs, they liked their polite jazz. It was smooth jazz. It was smooth. And the black jazz, they played more primitive. They were wild jazz. And they played the jazz that was like in New Orleans. You ever been to New Orleans? You ever been to New Orleans? It's a good city. King Oliver, his cradle jazz band came from New Orleans, but racial problems made them come up to Chicago, and they came up to Chicago, and their bluesy style of jazz, it quickly absorbed into the culture, just like this quickly absorbs into me, and the band was very popular at first, but the Americans, they seem to prefer the polite jazz over the dirty jazz. So this style of jazz, like the clean one, kind of lost its bluesy effect, sent Chicago into the swing era. The swing era, you swing, but that's the swing era. Multitudes of African American people, they were looking for better jobs, and the northern industrialized cities, they had jobs for them. They had them. So jazz musicians, they followed their primary audience up to Chicago, and no longer was the jazz center in New Orleans. It was in Chicago after that. After they did all that stuff, it went up to Chicago, and that's where it all ended. Excuse me.
That's where it all ended.
Yeah.
Hello. We would just like to apologize for what you've just seen.
In that last scene, you may have noticed that we were acting as if we were intoxicated while the video was taking place, but we assure you, in no way were we under the influence of drugs or alcohol in the making of this video.
It is strictly just for comic relief, no other reason. It is a bottle of Mountain Dew and an empty bottle of root beer. We do not encourage drinking, and we please ask that you do not.
And again, if your friend drinks, tell them to stop.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Thank you.